somebody made a comment. He was like, you don't understand the thinking of the Gen Z. But here is the thing. The Gen Zs are human beings. And human beings, human nature is the same thousands of years. It's remained the same, and it's going to remain the same for thousands of years. Human nature doesn't change because it's a new generation. Um, uh, of course, there are things that change in the way people live their lives, in the way they think, but the human nature behind it is constant. And so when you say, "Oh, you don't understand the thinking of the Gen Zs," I don't have to understand anything. I just have to ask myself one question: are Gen Zs stoic or emotional? Only that question. And if I answer that question, I know what it is. And it's not going to be different from any other generation when it comes to politics. Now, let me ask that question. Is the Gen Z movement stoic or emotional? If you think about it yourself, the Gen Z movement is very emotional. And that's all revolutions are emotional. There is no revolution that is stoic. But here is the thing: even when evolutions are emotional, the ones that succeed have to have a stoic leadership that guards the flock, if I might use that term, guides the flock to the right channel or to the right path. Now, people have said the Gen Zs are leaderless. They are tribeless, which is good. They are leaderless, which is terrible. But I don't believe they are leaderless. They have leaders, but the leaders, even the Gen Zs themselves, don't know them. Yeah, that's a fact. I can die on that hill that there are leaders. There are people who sit in meetings and strategize and decide what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. This date we have to go to protest. There are people making those decisions. Those are the leaders. But the Gen Zs don't know them. The majority of them don't know them. And that's where the danger is, because if you don't know your leaders, there is a problem, because you don't know their interest. You don't know what they are planning to do or what is the goal. You are just there. You don't know who these people are, and they just tell you, or information just comes on social media. We are going to do this, and you assume it's organic. There is nothing like organic when it comes to such things. There are people who sit somewhere and make decisions. Now, but the kind of leadership I'm talking about is the kind of leadership that is known by the followers. So for that movement to succeed, it has to have a leadership. And the leadership has to be stoic, which means it's not reactive based on emotions, but it's able to manipulate the emotions of the followers so that they behave in a certain way. And I know most people don't realize this, that when it comes to managing public sentiment and driving people to do things in a certain way, emotion is the tool. I remember I read a book by by somebody Hall, and he wrote a line that stuck with me to date, and is the line that emotion is the strings that are used to move you like a marionette. And as somebody who has worked in the marketing space for over a decade, I understand that it's not about arguing with people. It's not about persuading people with words and logic. That doesn't work. It's about driving people using emotion, their own emotions, exciting their emotions and then driving them using those. It can be anger, it can be anything really, but just emotion. And there's a reason why in this protest that you are seeing, there are goons doing all sorts of things, breaking shops and attacking people. That's not by accident. Some people are like, oh, those are young people taking advantage of the situation. Wrong. Those are people, activists, and people paid and organized to do such things. Why? Emotion. Fearful people are easy to control. Fear is a very powerful emotion, actually, very powerful. And so when people become scared, you can easily propose things and people will be like, yeah, anything so that we are secure and we are safe. So emotions. So anyway, coming to my point of, is the Gen Z stoic or emotional? Gen Zs are very emotional. The ones who are on the streets protesting. And you can only go to the street and protest when you are emotional. That's how these things work. But for Gen Zs to redeem themselves, they need leadership, and the leadership should be stoic. Why stoic? So that they have clear of mind to have strategy. And by having strategy, There are plans, and those should be communicated. And by having plans and goals, it becomes easy to persuade those ones who are not emotional, those who have not been driven by emotion to that state of, I can go to the streets, to listen and to be like, yeah, that's a good plan. We are going to back that up and we are going to support that. Yeah, so there's supposed to be this thing of leaderless is another trap, actually. There is somebody who is encouraging the Gen Zs to be like, oh, we are leaderless. But that person is the leader. That person is the leader. And without leadership, this movement will only achieve one thing. It will create a power gap, a power vacuum. And guess who will take that gap? It's the people who are organized, who are not even part of the movement. Those are the people who will grab that. Those are the people who will take that, who will fill that gap, that vacuum so easily because they are ready. There are people seated somewhere, they are not participating in it, but they are strategizing and organizing and planning. And once there is that gap, that vacuum, they move in. And they're already prepared, they're organized, they have structures in place, and they take it and they run with it. Unfortunately, those people might be even worse than what you're trying to remove from power. That's the most unfortunate thing about it. So without leaders, you are just going to achieve one thing, create a power vacuum, and then somebody else who is prepared with leadership with structures in place moves in and occupies it. That person might not have your interest, might not be interested in guarding your interest. And with a leadership that is open in the open field, you avoid other traps. For example, I saw one trap that was so obvious. Is some people are monetizing your emotion. That's why you see things like Diani, Summertime, Summertide, or something like that, events. And you're spending money on those events. Somebody is monetizing your emotions, and you don't realize it. You're thinking, oh, it's part of that. But somebody is like, oh, there's an opportunity here to make money. But if there were leaders, a structure in place, those things will not happen. Be like, this, go do something else. You're not interested in giving you money. You are not going to monetize this movement. So the way the Gen Zs are going to redeem themselves is to have a plan, to have a strategy, to have a team that is stoic. Let the rest of the team, the rest of the group be emotional as they want, but have people who know what the goal is and use those emotions towards the right goal. Otherwise, you're just going to create a vacuum for other people to swoop in and take over and run things. And those people might be 2 times, 3 times worse than what you are trying to remove from power. And another thing, change does not happen in an instant. If it does, things can go really wrong. Like if today people rise up and you break the system, that has happened in so many countries. Egypt, it happened at Tahrir Square, remember? Where is Egypt today? They have a dictator in power. In fact, Egypt is a very good example of what happens when the people doing the revolution or the protests are not organized. They were not organized. And they removed Hosni Mubarak from power. The youths of Egypt, Tahrir Square, they were full there and all that. And at some point, Hosni Mubarak had to go. Guess who became the president? The Brotherhood, the party of they were called the Islamic Brotherhood, became the leader of Egypt. These people did not participate in the whatever was happening. They were just on. These people had been trying to oppose Hosni Mubarak for decades. They were being arrested, thrown in jail, and they were just there. And when the Tahrir Square thing happened, these guys were not part of it. They were just on the side watching. And when Hosni Mubarak left, they were the only group that was organized enough to take power. And they elected the president, of course, from that party, but he did not survive. He left. Guess who is in power today? He's a dictator, somebody who was under Hosni Mubarak, an army general. Came back and is holding the country with an iron fist stronger than that of Hosni Mubarak. It has happened in Libya. People rose, they are like, yeah, we want freedom. Libya is a mess right now. It happened in Syria. Syria is a mess today. Anyways, the point is, change does not happen quickly like that if it's going to serve the interest of those who are pushing for that change. The good change, or the change that is more likely to serve the interests of those people who are pushing for it, is change that is structured, organized, and moved with plan and strategy. And ultimately the best change comes at the ballot box, not on the streets. Whatever happens out of the streets will never benefit the ordinary person. It's going to be some other people will grab power. The best changes we push, we go to the streets, push for specific changes. We want this law to be changed, it is changed. We want this law to be changed, it is changed. We want this office to be structured in this way, it is structured. We go to the ballot box, we vote however we want, and that's how. Yeah, over 10 million votes of Gen Zs, I think they might have over 10 million votes. It's a powerful, powerful force, but it's only powerful if it is well planned, organized, and of course, it doesn't fall into the tribal trap, and it organized in a way that it will achieve a certain goal. Those are my random thoughts.